Alright, subcourse TR1029, Edition 8, Supervising Hazard Material Handling and Establishing a Nuclear Surety Program. Subcourse number TR1029, Edition 8, 4 credit hours, 1988. Introduction. As important duty of the transportation officer for the to supervise the handling hazardous material to cover the numerous safety hazards are often involved with the handling such material that you need to know the regulatory requirements in handling, storage, certification, and loading hazardous cargo. You also need to know specific rules, regulations providing hazards for the cargo handling of all modes of the transportation. Part 8, identifying essential parts of the CFR Title 49 with the job of the transportation officer required for becoming familiar with the Title CFR 49 with the transportation-related legislation is incorporated into this regulation as new law of the past. The CFR 49 is updated in supplementary form to stay with the current as possible, since the laws may be changed frequently. Ensure that you the current version of the Title 49 CFR Code Federal regulations are kept up to date with the individual issue for the Federal Register. Basically, you will need to use the Code Federal Regulation 49 together with the Federal Registry to check the latest version on any given rule. Civil and criminal penalties. You need to know as much as you buy with the CFR 49 become the violation etiquette to provide for the prima facie of the evidence against you in the court of law. If normally violate with the regulation, you can be with the charge with a civil penalty incurring with a maximum of $25,000 fine and imprisonment with more than 5 years or both. The only incident with the main encounter which for the CFR 49 does not apply with the handling of the moving hazardous good for the military installation. For all other cases that you will need to be acquainted with the regulation and to know certain parts extremely well. Part 171. When you deal with the hazardous material on a daily basis, you will routinely have some of the parts of Title 4 CFR 49 that change chiefly among Part 171 with the contains the general information requirements of reference for the definition. Section 171A, they cover the definition and abbreviation. Section 171.9 cover the rules and the construction is shown here. Words imparting with the singular include with the plural. Words imparting plural include the singular. Words imparting with the masculine include the feminine, and shall and must bear you with the imperative of the sense of the should be you with this recommendatory sense of a may you with the permissive sense. Includes representation, include with the not limitation. These rules provide applicable definition interpreting the title CFR 49. Exemption policy, but there may be the situation in which you can find with no rule for the characterization Title 49. In the event you may refer to the subpart B with the Chapter 1 Title CFR Title 49. They give the information you need to apply with a certificate of equivalency before using this information term. The certificate of equivalency are exhibit the particular situation using the existing certificate of equivalency. Transportation mode. The course deals primarily with the hazardous material the handling on the vessels, motor vehicle, the traveling public highways, rail, military aircraft during mobilization. Title CFR 49 also address the commercial air, but should you be transporting nuclear weapons by rail, you will also need to consult with the AR-55. Hazard material classes. To understand the reference of the title, so CFR 49, you must tell the Department of Transportation with the hazard class that contained within Part 173 of the title CFR 49. With the 9 classes that include the following. Class 1 includes the explosive of any chemical compound, mixture of the device in which purpose the substantial instantaneous relief of the gas or heat, which in Class 1 are 3 types of explosives. A, the unexplosive for the most dangerous explosive within the minimum of the no motion applied with the dynamite. B, explosive the function with the rapid combustion rather than detonation propellant, explosive railway torpedoes. C, the explosive for the minimally hazardous toy caps. Class 2 includes gas for the compressed liquefied dissolved under pressure. For the Class 3 includes flammable liquids such as gasoline, acetone, benzene. Chapter 4 includes the flammable solid with the metallic calcium and bulk cotton. Class 5 includes oxide or substance of the yield of the oxygen stimulated with the burning of the other materials, chlorate, nitrate, and peroxide. Chapter 6. Class 6 includes the irritation poison for the name of the suggest the irritation material will give off of the irritation fume. The fumes are divided into 2 groups. A, the poison of those with dangerous to life within the small amounts. B, the poison of the toxin to man. Class 7 includes the radioactive material, which may be any of the material, the combination material for the spontaneously emit the ionization radiation. Class 8 includes the corrosive such acids, other substances which will destroy human skin. Class 9 includes all other miscellaneous dangerous substances which do not fall with the preceding categories. In addition, with the class of the dot system may be used as well with the numerically listed hazard class of the system group the materials into 11 major hazard class. 1. Explosives as described earlier in Class A, B, and C for the blasting agents, compressed gas, both flammable, non-flammable, flammable, combustible liquids, flammable solids, further broken down into air, reactive with water, reactive with spontaneous, combustible, organic oxide, organic peroxide, etiological agents defined with a variable microorganisms or toxins which cover the cause of the human disease with the chief etiological agent with the transport of the biological specimen, virus specimens used for testing and research later include the such agents of the measles and rabies virus, radioactive material 8, other corrosive metals, corrosive materials 9, other regulated materials from A through E, Class A and B poisons, irritating listing under Class 6. Hazardous material table. The hazardous material table is located in Section 172.101 CFR 49. You will use the table to determine the proper placard, label, and packaging of the hazardous material. The table lists of the alphabetical more than 1,800 hazardous materials. Column 1 contains one or more of the following these four symbols. The plus sign fixed for the proper shipping name of the hazardous class for the entire entry with regard whether the material meet for the definition of that class for the alternate proper shipping name of the hazardous class may authorize with the associated director for the Office of the Hazardous Material Regulation and Material Transportation Bureau. Letter E alone identifies the material of the subject to the requirements of subchapter C of the Title 49 regardless of the mode of the transportation hazardous class if the hazardous substance. Letter A restrict the application of subchapter C with the CFR 49 of the materials offered intent with the transportation by aircraft unless they are. Letter E also appear with the N and if the material was hazardous substance if the material is in hazardous waste. Letter W restrict the application of subchapter C with the CFR 49 to meet the offered with the intent of the transportation by and vessel unless letter E would also appear with it and the material is hazardous substance if the material is in hazardous waste. Column 2, list for the proper shipping name of the materials designated with a hazardous waste. Proper shipping name is limited to those of the shown in Roman non-italic type, while not in part with the proper shipping name the word italics may be used. In addition, with the proper shipping name of the term in the word, the italics indicate the name of the term of the sequence may be used with the proper shipping name of the appropriate with the general rule. The use of the prefix mile is optional. For example, the ethanol is the same as ethanol limonene. Parenthetical designation of the reportable quantity followed by the fraction. For example, the RQ 1044 would indicate the minimum quantity of the material with the reportable in both pounds and kilograms. For example, the 1,000 pounds or 454 kilograms. The reportable quantity designation or description but not technically a part of the substance proper name that you will need to apply with the descriptive information later interpreting column 5. Many other rules applying issue column 2 are in CFR 49. At some point will be familiarized himself with all of them. Column 3 contains the description of the hazardous class the corresponding with each for the proper shipping name of the word forbidden, which means that it's prohibited from being offered with accepted for transportation if they obtained with a new material indicated that may be able to modify the forbidden designation of the hazardous class specified for the material specifically defined in the table. You should submit the information from the Associate Director, Office of the Hazardous Material Regulations, MTB. Further detail of the interpreted column B, column 3, sections 172-101, title CFR 49. Column 3A, list of the identification or ID numbers of the assignment of the hazardous material of the North American designation, description of the record of the interchangeable international shipment, except for those from Canada. The identification numbers of the perceived with the UN designation are associated with the description considered appropriate for both international and domestic shipment. You will find more specific information from reading in the column 3A with the title 4, CFR title 49. Column 4, specific labels required for the apply within each for the package subject to additional labeling requirements found in section 172.402 with the title 49. The shipper with the ultimate responsibility all labeling placard. However, with the initiating of the movement, we will need to know the proper labeling placard types. Column 5, discuss the applicable packaging of the section part 173 subchapter C of the title 49. You may not be numerous exemptions, but for some requirements of subchapter C that you will proceed to identify particular package instruction. You will find the exemptions by reference. Column 5A by either both of the column and the column 5B, which is the list of specific paragraphs. You need to reference to the link of the parenthetical references listed with the proper shipping name with the correct packaging modes. You should be able to properly pack the materials you plan to transport. Column 6, set the maximum net quantity that carried into one of the packet of the transportation passenger carrying an aircraft and passenger rail cars. A forbidden note of the column E, but the material that may not be offered or carried is limited to the applicable only the transportation types not noted above. Also, certain flammable liquids may be accepted in C part and subchapter part B, subchapter C with the title 49. Column 6A actually sets the maximum net quantity allowed in one package transportation be the listed mode. Column 6B, set the maximum net quantity permitted within one package for the transportation cargo only aircraft. Subpart B and subpart chapter C, CFR 49 provides more information on labeling packaging requirements for the goods and moved cargo only aircraft. Alright, column 7. List of the authorized stowage location of the bottom of the cargo or passenger vessel in addition to the requirements of the shipment that each of the listed has for the section 176 of the subchapter C with the title 49 with spelled out physical requirements for the authorized vessel location noted in column 7. For the bulk shipment by the vessel and vessel shipment with explosive, you will need to consult with the title CFR title 49.6. See part B with the more information has the material handling of the vessel to you with the information column 7 effectively must follow the instructions subpart B subchapter C title 49 to find out what the numerical codes of column 8, 7A and 7B refamiliarize yourself with the rule of the construction subchapter part 171 title 49 CFR since the rules of the code effect with the sewage capability. Finally, column 7C with the list for the other requirements water shipment of the hazardous cargo applicable to the specific material for these requirements for the applicable to the specific material for the activating cartridge for the explosive fire extinguishers or valve. The other requirements are to keep the shipment cool and dry. Hazard material labeled. Labels may be affixed for the hazard material to identify the type of the hazardous concern with each type of the label identifying colors such as the orange explosives that must offer the hazard symbols such as the flame of the flammable material finally a specific type of the hazard that appear with the letters such as poison they meant to be easily identified. Two or more different labels are required to display them next to each other. The hazard material tables of title 49 discussed earlier identify the proper labels of the hazardous material. Radioactive, radioactive 2, oxidizer, corrosive, explosive, blasting agents, combustible, flammable, solid, poisonous gas, flammable gas. Part B, supervisor, hazardous material handling on ocean vessels. Part A, leading on the general rule of the stowage pertaining to the ocean vessels. Column 7 on hazardous waste material table. The title CFR 49 relates directly to stowage capability. You must also use the CFR 46 part 146. We'll discuss the storage too with the capability rules, specific requirements, capability, handling, storage, hazardous material, method of using secure cargo. For example, the effective use of the dunnage method, the use of the check, the secure for the storage, safety precautions, conservation involved in the hazardous cargo, procedures for inspecting cargo handling gear, equipment, and supervising hazardous cargo operations. Alright, you must also be able to use the CFR 46 to cover the source of the regulatory information for the handling of explosive ship down with a seagoing vessel. Also, a great amount of the ammunition is transported through the ocean terminals. You will need to coordinate with the terminal operation plan with the ensure that it's separately isolated with the terminal available to both for the ammo shipments and the other hazardous cargo. You also want to be familiar with the AR 55 with the governance for the waterborne movement of the nuclear goods. International Maritime Dangerous Goods, or IMDG code. The properly classified, certified with a marked black card labeled hazard and cover. You should know how to apply with the International Maritime Dangerous Goods code. The code is designed primarily for the mariner, that also contains the provision affecting the industry handling with the transport, serve the manufacturer down to the consumer. If you do not have the access to the International Maritime Dangerous Goods code, then you can use the information given in Part A along with the CFR 46 to handle the shipment. General introduction part of the International Maritime Dangerous Goods codes are drafted require the marking, identification, consignment, procedures, labeling, and placarding, documentation, packing. Hazardous goods to be transported by sea with the introduction include with the discussion of special requirements of ferry containers, portable tanks, road tank vehicles, stowage, segregation, consideration, safety issue, fire prevention, firefighting. Other introductory sections cover the carriage over the dangerous good on roll on, roll off ships and limited with the quantity of the ship barge of the barge carrying ship and under control temperature condition of the maintain chemical stability. Annex 1, the general introduction give the package. Recommendation is a glossary illustrated for the construction testing of the packaging. Annex 1 provides the dangerous goods other than covered in Class 1, 2, and 7, and 3 packaging groups according to the degree of the danger they are present. These groups include Packing Group 1, good presentation and great danger. Packing Group 2, good presenting, medium danger. Good Packing Group 3, presenting minor danger. Each class is preceded by an introduction that describes the property of the definition for the good, to give it the detail of the storage segregation that is agreed with the goods should be kept segregated from other dangerous substances for the goods transported on the ship of the class. The introduction also gives the information concerning the recommended loading and unloading procedures. Each class identified with a distinctly with a label of the placard, some of which will be familiar to road users since they appear with a commercial vehicle for the transport dangerous code C part C, where the appropriate each individual section is scheduled in the code show with a label of 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters, which should be affixed to the package or placards enable large large label to 250 millimeters by 250 millimeters, where you should be affixed to the portable tank, the freight containers, or other transportation units. Good in these classified outside with the various stowage categories. Stowage category, ordinary with the cover of the good, with the present relatively little. Hazard category 2, involved with the mechanized stowage over the such good, with the divided in 3 groups. The stowage category 3 is the 4. Pyrotechnics category 4 is reserved for special items such as both explosive chemical agents which can emit deterrent producing or toxic gases. Class 1 explosive, to ensure the hazardous goods of the stove and the safety possible, whether you should be able to give to group. They are arranged in 12 the capability of groups and classification codes as shown in the following figure. In addition, with the proper shipping name of the correct technical of the name of the UN number, the identifying individual schedule of the class 1, and also go over the substantive of the article, division, capability, group of the if you the shipper, they must show the identical information from the package label. You should also show the substance, article, stowage category, or the personnel that you may delegate include this information in shipping documentation. Class 2 gases. Gases carried on board ship that vary with the property to come in a different form, but they are compressed, liquefied, ambient temperature with a high pressure to dissolve under this pressure in a solvent which is absorbed with the porous material liquefied by refrigeration. They may be non-flammable, inflammable, poisonous, corrosive, compatible, or a combination of all of these. Some of these things, some of the gases are lighter than air, some are heavier. For the purpose of stowage segregation on board ship, class 2 with the further subdivided according to the hazard present in gas during the stowage transportation. Class 2, 1, inflammable gas. Class 2, 2, non-flammable gas. Class 2, 3, poisonous gas. The star stands for flammable has the same meaning. To more accurately with the convey of the hazard presented by the gap of the classification required with the Regulation 2, Chapter 7, and over the Convention with the Safety of the Life of the Sea or Soulless, 1974 must be supplemented with additional descriptions and subglass of the International Maritime Dangerous Code to give the general information concerning with the property of the gap of the guideline of the packing, the stowage, and segregation of them. The schedule of them include with the UN number, the chemical formula. Each gas is also the gas is flammable range with the explosive limit 50% of the gas required within gas air atmosphere makes of the mixture of the explosive the given and thus the schedule accelerating the first entry for the class 2 with the show of the mixture of acetylene and the air explosive which can contain with 1% with 80% acetylene. The schedule that describes the property of the specific gas include with the appropriate additional information and detail of the packing requirements, stowage, and segregation. Class 3 inflammable liquids. Class 3 is divided into 3 subclasses according with the flash point with the lowest temperature with the vapor, the combustible liquid that may be in ignition, monetary the air of the liquid. Class 3 1 cover the liquid of low flash point between 18 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Class 3 2 cover the liquids immediately flash point of 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Class 3 3 cover the liquids with a high flash point of 141 degrees Fahrenheit. No transportation liquid flash points up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit regulated within Europe. The International Maritime Dangerous Good Codes are several various methods which can be used to establish flash point flammable liquids. Important factor there over the fair as safety is concerned with the package stowing requirements for the liquid low flash point, strict within and for the high flash point. Introduced in Class 3 includes information packaging, stowing, segregation. Individual schedules are arranged. Flammable has been the same in the meaning. Start with means flammable has the same meaning. And the 3 subclasses that referred previously, starting with the Class 3 1, each of the schedules include the substance name of the UN number, the chemical formula, explosive limit, and flash point. Heading information for the provide with the under the standard heading of the property of the observation packing and stowage segregation as in the case of the other classes. Limited in the class also the danger assigned by the packaging group with it determine the degree of the danger for the substance present in the package group. The 1 with include the liquids present with the great danger group. 2 represent the medium danger group. 3 means minor danger. And similar to the sign of the dangerous goods of the 1 of the 3 packaging group and the other classes of the International Maritime Dangerous Good Code. The exemption of the class 1, 2, and 7. General speaking, water is unsuitable for the life-fighting fire involving inflammable liquids, particularly with liquids which cannot mix with the water. Class 4, other inflammables. And class is divided in 3 substances, each with the different properties. The class included some of the commonly known products. Many of them are harmless enough that which they can be very dangerous unless properly packed and handled and transported. Class 4-1, inflammable solids. Substances of this class that are easily combustible can be readily ignited with the external source such as sparks or flames. The individual schedule to give the product name of the UN, the chemical formula. The schedules are often detailed since the properties are variable. Some of the common properties covered with the class are wetted explosive with camphor, vegetable fibers, and cotton, jute, and hemp, and hay, and straw, and matches, and rubber scrap, and sulfur. Alright, class 4.2, substance like liable to spontaneous combustion. Substance for the class react with the heat with the air liable to ignite spontaneously. Some of them are more likely to be wet the water in contact with the moist air. Some of them also give the alpha toxins. Unless specific provision of the contrary is made with the individual scale of the good class 1 packaging should be complied with the requirements of medium danger packing group 2. Gases burned with the cover of these properly packing with the tow is requirement of the important. Although these general commandments for the made with the introduction of the class, more detailed information given the individual's company, individual schedules, common products will appear with the class of the car, charcoal, celluloid, scrap, the copra, wet and oil, cotton, iron oxide, some plastics, flesh, tissue, metal, and seed cakes. Class 4.3, substance with which, in the contact with the water, emit inflammable gas. Recover the product with this class, give it off with the gas with which are sometimes subject to the spontaneous ignition that are toxic in firefighting is a particular problem. The use of water, steam, and water form of the extinguishers may make matters worse. Even the carbon dioxide can do more than good and do more harm than good in some situations. Common products in this class include calcium carbide, powder, derivative, aluminum, calcium, ferrosilicon, lithium, magnesium-based product, potassium-based products, and iridium, sodium, and zinc. Classify oxidizing substance agents, oxidizing peroxide. This class is divided into two substances. Class 5.1 deals with the oxidizing substance through the non-necessary combustible themselves, may increase the risk of the intensity of the fire given off the oxygen. Class 5.2 includes organic peroxides, most of which are combustible. Class 5.1 oxidizing substance agents. The fact that all the substances in the class given off the oxygen and burn create obvious firefighting difficulties. Some of the substances may also be sensitive to the impact of the friction or the rise of the temperature. Still others may vigorously with the moisture, thereby increase the risk of the fire. Mixture of these agents with the organic combustibility material that are easily ignited. The stuff of these burn with the explosive force, but also can accept the violent reaction between the most of the oxidizing substance with the strong liquid acid, which turns highly toxic gas. One firefighting problem is caused by the fact that they send the substance of the class give the oxygen when burned. The use of steam, carbon dioxide, or other inert extinguishers may be ineffective. This class includes the ammonia nitrate, fertilizer, the chlorides, and calcium potassium permanganate. Class 5.2 organic peroxides. In addition to the being oxidizing agents, some of the substances in the class are also liable to expose to decomposition. Most will burn rapidly with the sensitivity to heat. Some of them are sensitive to impact with the friction. Reduce the sensitivity to safe level that they are carried in solution in paste, wetted with water, or what's in the air solid. Even under the safe conditions, some of these substances may react with dangerously. Other substances for the island level decomposition may result with the impurity such for the acid and metal oxide of the amines of the decomposition may give the risk for the toxic inflammable gases. Some organic peroxides can be particularly dangerous for the eye, but even after the only monetary contact with it, if you and your personnel should seek immediately medical attention for the contact of your eyes. Some substance may begin to decompose certain at temperature, but some of the classes may lead with the explosion. To prevent this, certain organic peroxides have to be transported at a controlled temperature. For the general introduction of the International Maritime Dangerous Good Code, Introduction Class 5.2, the individual schedules contain the information aspecting hazardous handling. For my fire may result with the explosion as well. Many co-packages contain the organic peroxides away from the set of any fire. But if this is not possible, the personnel survey the package with a large quantity of the water for as far as practical to cool them. Even with the fire having been extinguished, package should be retrieved with great care, since the oxygen peroxide which have been exposed at a high temperature may start violently decomposition at any time. In some cases, the package may require a second subsidiary risk in the addition of the Class 5.2A label. 5.2 label, for example, the specific Class 1, explosive Class 3, inflammable liquid label. Alright, your Class 6 poison, toxic, infectious substance. The class is divided into two subclasses of the Class 1 poisonous, toxic substances, Class 2, 6.2, infectious substances. The generally substance for the 6.1 may be serious injury or the star stands for the toxic has the same meaning as poison, even in the death, injury or even death. If swallowed, inhaled, absorbed with the contact through the skin of the Class 6.1 material, they arranged with the three packaging groups in the descending order with a risk for the introduction. Class 6.1 set for the critical with the group. Firefighting measures basically the same as those given with the Class 3 flammable liquids because of the high risk of the poison through the fume with the International Maritime Code that require the ship to carry the poison of the substance allowed also always carry the protective clothing self-contained breathing apparatus. If the liquid leakage spillage curve involved with a toxic substance, such as if the liquid pesticide, you should ensure the combination carried out with a trained staff wearing suitable protective clothing and equipment. 6.2 includes the substance containing viable microorganisms or their toxins which are known as subject to cause disease in animals, human, and danger labeled required for the various substances for the class of the varying, according to the substance properties, most are required with the care of the poisons, some of the care of the labeled indication with the way the substances are harmful should therefore be stowed away from foodstuffs. In addition, with the further subsidiary levels may be required depending on the substance properties. Class 7, radioactive substance material. The provision for the class was based on principle of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the regulation for the safe transportation of radioactive material in 1973, the principle for the alpha guidance for the personnel involved with the handling, transportation of radioactive material, imports on ship. These personnel ordinarily will not have the control of the International Atomic Energy Agency regulations. Packaging, label, the placard, and storage segregation of the requirements vary according to the radioactive material. The radioactive substance provided in 3 categories depending on the radiation level. Category 1, white, least dangerous. Category labeled 2 and 3, yellow or printed in yellow with a white and additional emphasis. Class 8, corrosive substance. In the class can damage little living tissue of the materials. In some of the cases, very severely. Some of them give off the irritating poison and harmful vapors of their poisons in and on themselves. Some of the inflammable give off the inflammable gases under certain conditions. Alright, substance in this case that may be corrosive. The metals are such as aluminum, zinc, and tin, but not to iron, steel. While the others corrode all metals, some of these substances may corrode glass. When water can affect the substances, make them more corrosive, liberating few gas with generating heat and few. These different properties of the process of the packaging stove segregation are extremely important. The Class A substance divided into 3 package core categories. The packaging group 1 being the most important of the introduction class, to give it the detailed information type of the being packaged. Most fires involved in the corrosive substance can be put out by any of the extinguisher, including water. The substances which are also inflammable should be dealt with in the same way as substances of Class 3 of the International Maritime Danger Good. Cameras must also be taken in view with a higher risk of the breathing harmful flames. Class 9, miscellaneous dangerous substances. This class includes substances for the articles which, for the various reasons, do not fall within any of the other classes because of the varied property of the characters. In this class, an individual schedule will usually include the detailed information storage segregation need not to be labeled, therefore not labeled to provide for the Class 9 products. The classes include aerosol with some ammonia, nitrate, fertilizer, asbestos, safety matches, pollution. The International Maritime Good Code General Index. All substances article will appear with the International Maritime Dangerous Good Code listed in the General Index. The International Maritime Dangerous Good Code will give the product with the UN number, the emergency schedule number, item EMS number, the medical first aid guide with a table of the number, the International Maritime Good Code with the page number of the individual schedule. By looking at the substance article general index, you can from there readily the appropriate with the emergency schedule, the medical first aid guide, the table you will need this information. Know only with the first aid measure the safety precaution taken to handle with the various hazardous substances, but also know without it contact the emergency response personnel if an spill or leak with a hazardous substance occur with the weather, the sea, or land. Also, you need to be aware of all the required safety precautions you must have taken in the IRR 714 state of the Army personnel will be informed of the safety hazard involved with the processing hazard. Alright, cargo handling gear and the material handling equipment. For you to properly plan your cruise, label requirements, inspect with the cargo, provide loading, unloading hazard with the cargo. You will need to help know how properly with the cargo handle with the gear and ensure that the safe personnel with whom they are responsible to take the following safety precautions when selecting and using cargo handling gear. Cargo handling gear consists of the items used to secure the cargo load, whether being raised and lowered by the ship gear. In addition, the gear moves the cargo into the storage position and shipment. Inspect all the gear before the check of the sling of the kink of the broken thread strain of the parting and splice with the shackle with the ensure with the plane with the straight and screw within all the way with the hook show for the sign of the straighten out with the plate with the width, serve with the bull hook. Check with the chain sliding with the sign of the stretching. Know with the safe of the working load all gear with do not see with the safe of the working load any with the part rigging with the car load or hanging with the gear at any time while you with the new open hook with the handle, the snatch block most of the hook with the snatch block gate. Do not permit kink twist or announce the form of the slings. Do not permit slinging either across the uninspected sharp corner or edge. Make sure the hoisting slings are properly positioned on cargo hooks. Never to carry the load on the point of the hook. Check welding rings and hook eyes periodically for cracks and distortion. Never overload the sling. Never to apply the load suddenly. Never be too confident over the new sling, and for that fact that is no reason for the overloading. And remember the angle of the sling from the vertical is increased. The ability to support with the load decreases whenever the possible possible, avoid angle with less than 45 degrees of the horizontal. When handling a long draft of the cargo, leave the dunnage pipe of the lumber to tag line with the least of the two slings. Never place a strain or sliding on the pad. In consideration, all personnel trapped the draft any that could fall in any incident. Accidents coupled with failure with the cargo handling gear can easily be avoided with the care, relief, shake, and selection of the use. Select the gear with the care with the inspect thoroughly with the serviceability before you ever use place a gear just because it happens to be handy. Or similar safety precautions apply with the use of the material handling equipment. Material handling equipment consists of the large mechanical powered equipment that lifts the transfer stack cargo crane, but ensure that you and your crew have the following safety precautions when using cranes. Avoid possible damage of the machine, injury personnel with the operator will vicinity. Always check with the crane on all slings, cables, chain with the hooks before starting operation. Once motion is started, ensure the crane is kept level and never swing with the crane rapidly. Central figure force can get mechanism out of the control upset with the crane. Use standard signal for all operation. Keep the bottom at least 10 feet away from the proper power lines. Do not lift the weights greater than the rate of the capacity of the crane with a boom radius. You must use it for all correct control of the neutral before pursuing a servicing of the crane. Make the repairs and adjustment, including troubleshooting. Material compatibility. Materials will store together and shown in the table 1-2 and the 1-3 with the both table of the field manual 5570. Emergency response. In spite of the best efforts, handling hazardous material problems will arise. You need to ensure that subordinates to know about how to reach these emergency. The simple method of addressing these emergencies by either the emergency response guidebook and the P5803 will be able to the Department of Transportation purposes with the guide that specifically make a decision during the incident of the hazardous material. You must identify the material either 4-digit ID number, the material name, then the proceed with the yellow index or blue index. Look up the 2-digit guide number of the yellow index, numerically list the alphabet ID number that is shown in figure 1-3 with the blue index for the alphabetically list the material number that is shown in figure 1-4. Then turn it into the guide page to indicate what they read carefully. See figure 1-5. If you fail to find the guide number, they call Chemtrek, which was usually normal and National Clearinghouse for the Chemical Reaction Safety. The number is emergency response in the emergency response guide. If you fail to identify the material, you will we use guide 11 in class AB explosive blasting agents. Use guide 46. Alright, note that for Class C, explosive guide with the 50 with the vicinity of the accident involved in the cargo, move to keep it away from the incident scene with the do not walk for the touch or spilled material to avoid inhaling fumes, smoke, or vapors, even if the non-hazardous material involved, but do not assume the gate of the vapors, gas or vapors are harmless because of the lack of the smell. Part C, Supervise hazardous material handling on the motor vehicles. Transportation officer responsibility. Transportation officer responsible for shipping the material will comply with the regulation instructions and govern the safety of the transportation hazardous material. Inspect the vehicle for the use of the transportation with the hazardous material. Ensure the driver to receive the proper instructions, including accident delay reporting prior to dispatch of the vehicle. To maintain record shipment of Class A and B as well for the boys from radioactive 3 materials. Trade shipment which are overdue 24 hours after estimated date of arrival. Ensure completion of the distribution of the DoD Form 6 with the report with the packaging handling deficiencies. Report discrepancies on Standard Form 361 discrepancy within shipment report routing. The military military traffic management command also air commanders will select the routing of the explosive and poisonous Class A and B radioactive 3 materials for all hazardous material exceeding 10,000 pounds. In addition, military traffic management command or commanders will route all shipments by rail, motor carrier, freight forward. The transportation officer will submit the request of the routing prior to the schedule of the forwarding. The transportation officer may route any hazardous material weighing less than 10,000 pounds over the designated of the routine by area commander. Our records. Transportation officers will maintain detailed record for the shipment of the Class A and B explosives, poison the radioactive 3 with the material shipment that may be traced to the new accurate record of the accountability. Possible way of accomplishing this may be through the logbook with a separate transportation cargo movement document file with these material with any of the other method earlier locally required for the local requirement exists selected by you. Inspection. In the course of the movement of hazardous material, you as the transportation officer are required to inspect the equipment and inspect the vehicles. You with the DO Form 626 motor vehicle inspection. Fill out each of the item, correct the deficiency before landing and unloading vehicle. Alright, operators instruction when handling and hazardous material, the transportation officer must ensure that each of the drivers receive the DOD Form 836, special instruction for the motor vehicle driver, the C figure 1-8. Alright, compatible storage and handling. Compatible storage and handling. Procedure already given the discussed earlier within this left of the same procedure apply with the motor vehicle condition, but if you have the access to the hazardous material information system of the DOD 650 6050 you will find with a very valuable tool the Hazard Material Information System microfiche for the listing of the hazard material to provide the storage information, safety precautions, looking, labeling information spill for the procedure. This is not only the information contains, however, you will find with the data the most applicable to the transportation officer requirements. Also, remember the safety and storage information provided with the label of the manufacturer supersede with any other hazard material guidelines with compatibility guidance available at the table 12 of the Refield Manual 5570, shown in the table 1-4. Alright, Part D, Supervising Hazard Material Handling Aircraft Mobilization Unit only. Airship the guide with the guiding force for the shipment of hazard material by air for the TM 38250. The preparation of hazard material from the military airship. The publication contains information pertaining to the labeling, classification, compatibility, all hazard material. Material compatibility table 4-1 with the TM 38250. Table 1-5 provide the alphabetical list of the hazard material given the load and storage. Group of the last column load and storage. The number of the group of the which within all items safety shipped together. Look up the load and storage group for all items being shipped. The note that the materials of the term forbidden under these hazard classes are forbidden with the shipment of the military aircraft. Checking table A1, the TM 38250, the table 1-6 to determine the other load storage groups are compatible with the X in the block inner show that the items may be not shipped together. Alright. Labeling and certification. Transportation officer must ensure the hazard material while being shipped with the appropriate dot label affixed and with the company with the DOD Form 1387 2, the special handling of the data. The certification table 1-5 contains information the dot label the personnel all school trained qualified in preparation of the hazard material prepared with the DO Form 1387 2. Inspection quality control. The transportation officer must take the action protrude the improper shipment that has material into the transportation system. You must establish quality control and consider the 100% inspection. Ensure the hazard material are packed and marked and labeled and certified. To meet requirements of TM 38250, the safety airlift criteria, they inspect each pack of the determine the container that authorized in condition of the military airship and the materials contained. Therein check with the shipper's certification accuracy. Ensure the site with the correct packaging subparagraph that remove the damage or improperly prepared packages from the transportation cycle immediately. Exemptions. In the table of 1-5 of the code with the danger dagger with a great letter theta, Greek letter theta, the requirement exemption movement of the passing of the material with the dagger coded items require approval of the headquarters having the operational control of the aircraft. These the theta code items require the approval of the air terminal operator. Alright, lesson 1, operation practice exercises. Lesson 2. Lesson 2, establishing a nuclear security program. Introduction. Your role with the transportation officer may include commanding with the organization nuclear mission. Should this be the case, you will need to establish a nuclear security program to provide for the safety, security, reliability of nuclear weapons, provide with the control to prevent nuclear accidents, incident with unauthorized weapons employment. Also, along with the certifying with the official, will assume the responsibility for the proper implementation of the personal reliability program. Part A, applying nuclear surety to the shipment. The nuclear surety program is designed to ensure the safety, security, the reliability of nuclear weapons, also provide the control to prevent nuclear accidents, incidents, unauthorized weapons deployment, provide the assurance of the correlation variety with the Army function of activity with existing command shaft structure of the major nuclear security programs, activity regulating transportation, RGR, logistic consideration, certification, personnel reliability. Alright, nuclear move of the transportation officer must ensure the move of the nuclear cargo over the safety mean over the safety route profitable, keep the movement and men with the consistent operational requirements. Military aircraft prefer the move of the transportation surface of the movement of the military installation of the conflict is prohibited prior with the approval of the commander or unified specified commands allowed for the overseas surface movement. Consider the following when movement playing with the nuclear movement to keep known with the person potential has the current intelligence relating with the movement route with the type of the move with the shipment available with the security records available emergency assistance operating and security unit providing the transportation will ensure that the capability exists with the required practical with the delivery schedule. The adequate properly inspected transportation equipment is available. The all standards have been trained with the meet the personnel reliability standards, loading, tie down, unloading are prescribed in appropriate publications. Normally, waterborne movements of nuclear weapons will be aboard U.S. Navy ship to the board, especially with equipped ship of the military sea lift. The movement of the nuclear weapons between the conflict military installation rail is prohibited. However, the overseas shipment by rail may be authorized. Urgent operation requirement less than carrier load shipment is authorized only if the exclusive use of the car is specified. All right, Part B, ensuring personal reliability through personal reliability program. Personal reliability program. The personal reliability program, peacetime program. The Apple, the only person who have the access to control, the access of the war reserve, the nuclear weapons, nuclear components, sealed, authenticated person, permissive action, link with the cipher, the system, material, the missiles, computer tapes, nuclear reactor, the certifying official of the ultimately responsible for the proper implementation of the program, the official of the 06 or above or higher lower designee. No one will be assigned with a nuclear duty position until he has been screened with a certified with a qualified with the personal reliability program has been certified with appropriate training with a specific nuclear detail. The fellow worker, the supervisor may continue evaluate the personnel of the personnel reliability program. The concept of the personal reliability vital element of the nuclear security program, Surety program, the unpredictable the human being with the prove the positive test of the reliability individual may presume the reliability. There's no evidence on to the contrary because there is no reliability type of the personal reliability program provided the both for the pre-assignment, the screening, the continuing evaluation assessment of the individual's health, attitude, prior behavior, and duty performance. Certifying officially implemented disqualify the individual fail to meet with the suspected no longer meeting the reliability standard of the personal reliability program. Disqualification may either terminate temporary or permanent depending on the circumstance, character of the transitory, of the continuing nature of the code, of the unstability, except for the physical and mental condition documented within the member's medical record statements have been such as alcohol abuse, drug abuse, the contemptuous attitude of the court martial of conviction, or indicating inadequate to support the disqualification. Any further information required with the personal reliability program available the IR50. And that completes the reading of the TR subcourse ER 1029 Supervise Hazardous Materiels Handling and Established Nuclear Surety Program.